My 6-year-old daughter came home from my mother's house crying, not because she had fallen, not because anyone had yelled at her, but because she had been told to sleep on the floor. Not a sleeping bag, not a cozy movie night blanket situation, on the bare floor. Because, according to my mother, children need to learn that life is not always comfortable. She was 6 years old. I did not argue with my mother that night. I did not send a long message. I did not make a scene. I simply made a quiet decision, and 3 days later, my mother found out exactly what I had ended. And she was not happy about it. Let me give you some context, because this story did not happen out of nowhere. My mother raised me in a home where love and strictness were seen as the same thing. Discipline was expressed through rules, remarks, and comfort was considered something you had to earn. I grew up eating whatever was put in front of me, sleeping wherever I was told, and learning very early that children did not have opinions. I do not say this to attack her. She did the best she knew how to do that thing. She grew up in difficult circumstances, and she genuinely believed that hardship built character. But I made a different choice with my daughter. My daughter, Lily, is 6.5 years old. She is curious, she is kind, and she trusts the adults in her life completely. That trust is not something I take lightly. When Lily spends the weekend at my mother's house, she goes with an open heart. She packs her little backpack herself. She picks out which stuffed animal she wants to bring. She does not go there expecting to be punished for simply existing as a child. So when she came back that Sunday evening with her eyes red and puffy, and she quietly told me, "Grandma said I had to sleep on the floor because I was being too silly at bedtime," I felt something if inside me. Not rage, not panic, something quieter and more certain than either of those things. Here is what my mother told me when I called her the next morning. She said that Lily had been overexcited at bedtime, giggling, getting out of bed, asking for water. Normal 6-year-old things. And after asking her twice to settle down, my mother took the blanket and pillow off the bed and told Lily she would sleep on the floor as a consequence. Lily slept on the floor. In an unfamiliar room. In the dark, alone. My mother said it with complete confidence, as if she had done me a favor. She needs to know that behavior has consequences, she said, and technically, she is not wrong. Behavior does have consequences. But here is what my mother did not stop to think about. A 6-year-old child being too silly at bedtime is not misbehavior that deserves punishment. It is a child being a child. It is a child who was excited and a little wound up and needed gentle guidance, not the removal of basic comfort. Sleep is not a privilege. A child's bed is not something that should be taken away as a threat. And beyond the philosophy of it, my daughter was scared. She told me she cried for a while before she fell asleep. But she did not want to say anything because Grandma seemed upset with me. My 6-year-old had been lying on a floor, in the dark, trying not to bother anyone, because she thought she had done something terribly wrong. That was the moment I made my decision. My 6-year-old had been lying on a floor, in the dark, trying not to bother anyone, because she thought she had done something terribly wrong. That was the moment I made my decision. I did not call my mother back that day and deliver a speech. I did not post about it online in the moment. I did not vent to her sisters or organize a family intervention. I simply decided, quietly and clearly, that unsupervised overnight visits to my mother's house were over. I did not call my mother back that day and deliver a speech. I did not post about it online in the moment. I did not vent to her sisters or organize a family intervention. I simply decided, quietly and clearly, that unsupervised overnight visits to my mother's house were over. Not forever. I want to be honest about that. I was not burning a bridge. I was not writing my mother out of my daughter's life. My mother loves Lily. I know that. Lily loves her grandmother. I know that too. But love does not automatically mean safe. And trust has to be earned, especially when it comes to how someone treats my child when I am not there to protect her. So I told Lily that we were going to change things up, that from now on, when she visited Grandma, I would be there too. Or the visits would be shorter. Daytime only. And Lily, bless her, just nodded and said, "Okay, Mama." She did not even know what she was being protected from. She just knew that I was listening. For 3 days, life continued normally. I did not announce my decision to anyone. I did not explain it, justify it, or prepare a defense for it. But I knew that my mother would find out soon enough. On the 3rd day, my mother called to ask when Lily would be coming to stay next. She had a trip planned to take Lily to a nearby petting farm, something Lily had been excited about for weeks. My mother had already told her about it, and she was calling to confirm the date. I took a breath. And then I told her, calmly and directly, that Lily would not be doing overnight visits for a while. I explained that I would be happy to bring Lily to the petting farm together. All 3 of us. But that unsupervised overnights were paused. The silence on the other end of the phone was long. And then came the reaction I had expected. She was hurt. She was defensive. She cycled through several things very quickly. She reminded me that she had raised me the same way and I had turned out fine. She said that I was being dramatic. She said that Lily was too soft, that I was making her too soft, and that one night on the floor was not going to damage anyone. I let her say all of it. And then I said, very simply, I understand that you have a different approach than I do. And I respect that this is hard to hear. But when Lily cries herself to sleep alone on the floor at your house, that tells me she did not feel safe. And my job is to make sure she feels safe. So for right now, we are going to do things differently. She hung up. Not loudly. She just quietly ended the call. And I sat with that for a moment. The discomfort of it, the grief of it, even, because it is a strange kind of grief. Choosing your child over the peace of a relationship you have spent your whole life trying to maintain. My mother did not speak to me for about a week. During that week, a few family members reached out. Some of them were understanding. One aunt told me privately that she was proud of me and that it was something that should have been said a long time ago. One cousin told me I was breaking up the family over nothing. That word, nothing, stayed with me for a few days. Because that is how these things always get minimized, is it not? A child crying alone on a floor is nothing. A mother making a boundary to protect her daughter is drama. And the person who just quietly decides to put their child first is suddenly the difficult one, the sensitive one, the one making everything complicated. But I kept coming back to Lily, to that image of her lying there in the dark, trying to be small enough not to be a bother anymore. That is not nothing. About 10 days later, my mother called again. Her voice was different, softer. She did not apologize outright, not the way I might have hoped. But she said she had been thinking about it. She said she did not mean for Lily to be frightened. She said she thought it would be a quick lesson and it would be over. I believed her. I believed that she meant no lasting harm. And I told her that. I also told her that meaning well and doing well are not always the same thing. And that going forward, I needed to know that Lily's comfort and safety were never going to be used as a tool, not as discipline, not as a lesson, not for any reason. She listened. She did not argue. We are not all the way back to where we were, but we are talking. And Lily has seen her grandmother twice since then, both times with me present. Both times happy and relaxed and completely herself. That is enough for now. If you are watching this and you have been in a similar situation where someone you love, someone who is part of your family, has treated your child in a way that did not sit right with you, I want you to hear this. You do not have to make a dramatic announcement. You do not have to win an argument. You do not have to convince anyone that you are right. You just have to make the quiet decision. Protecting your child does not always look like confrontation. Sometimes it looks like changing a schedule. Sometimes it looks like being in the room. Sometimes it looks like a short phone call where you say one clear, calm thing and then you let the other person react however they need to react. You do not owe anyone access to your child, not grandparents, not aunts or uncles, not family friends, not anyone who has not shown you that they will treat your child with basic kindness and respect. And here is the part that took me a long time to understand. Holding that boundary does not mean you hate the person. It does not mean the relationship is over. It does not mean you are being cruel or dramatic or ungrateful for everything they have ever done. It means you love your child more than you fear the discomfort of someone else's feelings. That is not selfishness. That is parenting. My daughter deserves to feel safe everywhere she goes, and as long as I am her mother, I will do whatever quiet, steady, and glamorous thing I need to do to make sure she does. Thank you so much for watching today. If this story resonated with you, if you have been through something similar, or you are going through it right now, drop a comment below. I read every single one. If you found any value in this video, please give it a like. It genuinely helps more people find this content. And if you are new here, welcome. I share honest stories about parenting, family boundaries, and the everyday courage it takes to put your children first. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and take care of your kids.